The cost of IT in business can be staggering. From hardware and software expenses to services like internet and phone, you don't need to spend a fortune on IT to succeed. If your organization spends more than $500 monthly on any service, or you're considering signing a long-term contract, IT Enabled can help you manage your technology and minimize your costs. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. IT Enabled, we're here to help.
Hi, I'm Tara Watson-Watkins, President and CEO of the Lufkin, Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Connect podcast. I'm here today with my co-host, Blake Pollino with BP Media Group.
Welcome back to the podcast. We're super excited to have Jeff Walker back on the show in a pretty similar format than what we talked about with him last time, but a new organization, Partners for Rural Impact, that he is working with, doing some fantastic work to really help better the education system in East Texas.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, so we've got you on for the second time, but in a completely new role. So we're thrilled to have you back. Why don't you, for the listeners who don't know you, give a little bit about your background, your history, and then we'll get into what you're doing today.
Okay, gladly, Tara. Again, and Blake, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to be in space with you all and learn and grow together and do what we can to help this community. But Jeff Walker, former director of Stubblefield Learning Center, been in Lufkin, Texas for 16 years, and now have stepped into the new work with Partners for Rural Impact, which is a nationwide nonprofit that works with communities and public school systems. And we offer a cradle-to-career partnership and a development of a pipeline of resources and supports within community and for our K through 12 systems.
I love the phrase cradle to career. So let's start off with that.
Okay. It's really in the name, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's developing partnerships and resource acquisition within our systems, our early learning systems, all the way to post-secondary, that's kind of a fancy term that our school systems use for what kids actually do after high school.
Right.
And so we're kind of in this lens of, okay, what can we do in developing partnerships to develop a system of supports across that spectrum? You know, our relationships with early learning centers, then it goes on to kindergarten readiness. How are kids doing with early literacy? Jumping all the way into, middle numeracy or 8th grade math for layman's terms, all the way into high school graduation, and then what are kids going to do afterwards? And so that cradle to career partnership has the mindset of, okay, our systems have the resources they have, but what all is out here beyond the school walls? And that's where we come in. We kind of view it as a pipeline, so to speak. All of our students, all of our youth are in some type of pipeline moving in a direction. And our goal is, okay, how is the pipeline? Does it have fissures that need to be fixed? Are there junctions where things turn and we need to go in and offer extra support? And that's where, when we're going out and developing partnerships with higher ed, with workforce development, business, the chamber, any organization that we think might have stake in the game, that's where we pull those resources closer to our youth to try to elevate and expose them to different opportunities. So that's kind of that big umbrella shot at it.
That's great.
I was listening to this counselor talk, and she specialized in helping people go from high school students go into college. And she said, if you ask your average, I think she was just talking about males in that situation, but your average 17-year-old male, what they want to be when they grow up, he said it's very, very rare, or she said it's very, very rare that you get more than 5 different answers. And they're always, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be, I think it was doctor, lawyer, teacher, firefighter, and maybe one other. And it was very rare that it was anything outside of those. So talk about those pipelines. Like how is that, how does that work? So is this something that you're just introducing them to what careers are out there earlier in the stage, instead of you being like 17, like, oh my gosh, I got to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life? Or how does that work?
Okay, that's great. I'm glad you brought that up, because if we were all to turn back the clock to 17 years old, I don't know what we were thinking.
Mine was one of those 5. It was and that was it. There was nothing else in the world out there to me.
I think that's fair. Like, if you ask most students or young people between 16 and 17, hey, what do you want to do? We have this narrow, generic kind of vision.
Right.
And so that's where we believe that a pipeline of exposure of opportunity can lead to greater awareness.
I love
doing
that.
it earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, let's make it personal. If we were all to step back when we were, let's say, 14 or 13, all right, we still had those generic lenses that we were looking through. Like, yeah, that looks cool. That looks great. I need to make money. We all know that. But how do I do it? What does that actually look like on a day-to-day? And so that's why I use the term exposure. And so we're only exposed to what our circumstances in life allow us.
Right.
And so that's the micro version. So the macro version is if we step back in East Texas regionally, how many of our students have true opportunity to have that really specific exposure to know what a job actually looks like, what career looks like, what financial independence and literacy looks like. And so we believe that's where the pipeline of partnerships that are coming closer can come in and kind of serve that. But I think it's always great to look at that specific individual impact. And we all can go back and think of all the classmates we had around us. Everybody was on a path to somewhere, but we all had different roads that we were traveling on. Some of them were nice, fancy interstates, but lots of places to stop on the way and lots of support, great cell phone service. Some of our classmates were on roads that could be considered, off the blacktop.
Yeah.
Okay. No
Had
cell
some
phone
potholes.
service. No signs on where to turn. It's a road nonetheless, but that's kind of the comparison I think of when all of us have a road and an opportunity to get on, but we don't have the same access to resources. And we get that.
Yep.
Especially in rural East Texas.
Yeah.
Hence the name Partners for Rural Impact. So
Yeah.
we specifically are getting into rural space and going, okay, how can we help these communities and students gain access to what could be?
I love that. I love the exposure aspect of it. One of my favorite things about what we get to do when we go into these businesses and we're filming is just like even here in East Texas, like it's eye-opening to me to see some of the things that there are available to people. Like I would have never had thought to have been like some of the like lumber engineering jobs that we have never would have been on my radar, but like super cool jobs, but I was never exposed to that because it was just this really narrow view of what was available. And it's crazy what's out there. Like the getting to see how businesses make money doing all kinds of different things is one of the coolest things ever. I wish I would have been doing what I'm doing now when I was 16, so I could have seen what was available out there in the world outside of that narrow scope. So very cool. I love that. I want to go back a second though, to getting you into this. When you talked about what Partners for Rural Impact does, I couldn't help but think, did they write the job description specifically for you?
I know.
Because
it's perfect for him.
I was like, holy cow, that's a really good fit for what you do.
Yeah.
How did you come to do this? How did this all transpire?
I appreciate you asking that question. And, it's like a lot of things in life, doors open, right? And so I'm minding my own business. It's last summer, so almost a year ago. I've been with PRI for 9 months, and I'm running summer school at Stubblefield. And I had this email come about me. So I'm on this thread for the Temple Foundation, who partnered with them to get them to come down. And I see this job title, not just the job title, but like specifically what it does. And it's like build partnerships, work with community, enhance outcomes for youth at a regional level. And I thought, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I slept on it for a couple hours. And then I reached out to a couple people within the organization. I was like, tell me more. And the more I listened to them, the more I heard the passion just on the phone of what they were up to and what they wanted to do. And I was like, I would love to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And so fast forward a few weeks, went through the process, and poof, here's the job.
I don't know that you can convince me that whoever hires you for this position didn't just set out to say, we really want to hire Jeff, but we don't want to ask him. So we're gonna put out a job that's exactly him, and we're gonna see cool. We're fishing for him. We're gonna see if we can catch him.
Okay.
Well, it was all your passions and
perfect.
all your wants and
perfect fit.
It is because you did such a great job with Stubblefield. That's such a jewel for us in this community, but it exposed you to kids that had different roads. And to be able to see if they could have had this and if they could have had that, their outcome may have been different, and they may not have had to go to Stubblefield. They would have had
100%.
other opportunities.
That's such a great comparison. And not only just having I always called it a front row seat.
Absolutely.
I had a front row seat to what the community was up to, what the different roads looked like, And I always had this mindset, and our operation had the mindset of, what can we do to enhance that road?
That's right.
Okay. Well, we were limited at Stubblefield because we just have one scope of effect. And then I started to learn about this organization, PRI, and I was like,
There's no limits.
okay, wow, we can think about what can be, not just what is.
Yeah.
And so, that I did. I read through the job title and I was like, yeah.
It's a good fit.
It's almost like the job I was dreaming of, but didn't know I was dreaming of it, right?
Absolutely.
So here I said talking about it. It's unbelievable.
So you have started working with a school district here in East Texas. Let's talk about that.
2 in particular.
Okay.
All right. And they're the old Temple footprint towns.
I love that.
Okay. So Diboll, Texas, and Pineland, Texas. And in Pineland is West Sabine ISD. And so a lot of our work is geared around this, harvesting partnerships around these school districts and around communities, building what's called a leadership table. And within these leadership tables, you have cross-sector participation. So you've got community members, you have business, you have the health industry, school leaders, parents, student voice. Very important. You know me, I want to hear from the students.
Yeah.
If you want to know the truth, you talk to them. And so we've got these collaborative discussions. And around that, the question is what can be? How do we get there? What are obstacles and what are solutions? And let's take action on those. Let's not just meet to meet and talk. By gosh, let's get movement.
Yeah.
All right. And let's build some action around that. And so we started those, or PRI started them really before I began in 2022 as part of a planning grant with Temple. And now it's in full-fledged motion. And we've moved past strategies. We are now in the action phase and deployment of resources and services to help move the needle for kids.
That's great.
I love that.
Specifically for those 2 districts, but with the lens of, okay, at some point very soon, we've got this regional aspect that we want to touch on. And so when I'm out harvesting and building these relationships, it's specifically for Diboll and West Sabine ISD right now, but what else can be done regionally very soon? And so we're sticking our roots in, and as they get deeper, I really hope to look up here in the next couple of years, and we're naming off school district after community after school district of what's going on and who's coming together. And really it's a lens of sustainability as well. Okay, what's going to happen in Diboll and West Sabine when PRI is not there? That's what we're holding tightly.
Right. All
the conversation that's being had, all the movement that's being created, we want that momentum to sustain and to continue for kids.
I love that. What do the partnerships look like? So what type of support are they providing? How does that work?
Okay, great question. So early learning centers. All right, there's 2 each in these towns. They're really operating individually right now. Our hope is that the support can wrap around them from the community and offer this collaboration and this alignment into the school district. That enhances kindergarten readiness. That's one way we measure that.
Gotcha.
Other organizations are wrapping around them. Save the Children, for instance, is a national-based organization that's working with both of these institutions to help build supports, systematic alignment within those buildings to help those kids. High-level stuff. So that's on the younger end. On the older end, higher ed partnerships. We all know that Angelina College and Stephen F. Austin are here, but I'm meeting with them specifically on what can we do to bridge the gap even more and to create a better pipeline, better exposure for our kids. So case in point, the admissions recruiter over at Stephen F. Austin, we're working on something specifically for these 2 schools to have their kids exposed, not just on a bus tour, but to go and really learn about, hey, here's what college looks like.
Yeah.
This can be a reality for you. We want this to be a reality for you. So instead of just college just being down the road, and well, if I make it, I make it, we want these conversations and supports to begin earlier so that students and families can realize, you know what, I can do this. And I have someone physically there that wants to see me there and see it come to fruition.
Yeah, somebody kind of advocating for them to be there.
That's right.
Yeah, I love that.
Those are 2, and then maybe in the middle, if I were to mention anything, it's, we've got Workforce Solutions that's on the team, and we're pinging on them to say, hey, what services within your scope that you offer can you pull closer to the schools? Angelina County Health Districts, what can you pull in closer? Roy Martin is heavily involved. They want to see a great pipeline of relationship. That's a key word that they like to use. Family-owned business. They want to see relationships with community and school to show, hey, what the opportunity is.
I love that.
You know, I think so many times in East Texas that our kids feel like that they can't dream. I mean, I see that a lot, you know, that I've no one in my family's ever gone to college, so I'm not going to go to college. I'm going to be stuck here the rest of my life. But they don't see that being stuck here has its positives and its benefits, and that you can dream and you can go to a technical school and you can go to SFA and you can go to AC and get this training that will elevate your life so that it's not that you're stuck here. It's that you can be a tax-paying, you know, citizen here that's making this place better for future generations. But I think so many times people just look at it and the kids look at it and say, well, nobody's ever done it, so why should I dream? And we've got to encourage those kids to dream and to want to be better and to want to be the first out of a family to go and, you know, have a college education and to not be ashamed of that. I think a lot of kids are ashamed of that, that they don't want to make somebody feel bad, that they've never done it before.
Well, let me be the first to say I love it here.
Yeah.
The quality of life here is great. And I've told many people before, my wife and I, we've had chances to move off and maybe make more money or do something else. And we always pull back to, this is a great region. The people are great. The opportunity is still here. And we've been blessed to have what we have. And it's like, how do we pay that forward? How do we build the awareness and create greater economic mobility for others? And that's really the ultimate lens. I like that phrase, lens, is economic mobility is that chance for a student to gain and earn for themselves, to move up in that socioeconomic bracket. And that can be done through higher education, certifications. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Once somebody leaves high school, the number one thing parents want for their kids, and I'll speak for me, is get off my payroll, right? Be a productive citizen.
Yeah.
But we as citizens of Lufkin and of the East Texas region, that's what we want for our youth.
Yeah.
Because the more times that happens, the greater effect it starts to move. We all win when that happens.
Oh, 100%. Every generation you want better and better and better. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the ultimate baseline of all this. Every conversation, every time it's like, well, why should I get involved with the schools? That's why. It's bigger than us.
I love that. That's
amazing.
great.
So what's next? What's next for this movement? What's kind of on the horizon?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
You know, 9 months in, I feel like I've lived 9 years with all the cups of coffee and conversations I've had with people. It's continue to bring awareness to our public school systems. You know, recently you guys had a wonderful ribbon cutting for us. And in that ribbon cutting, I love the
It's the biggest ribbon cutting we've ever had.
Love it. Okay. Love it. I always look at this, the data. If a kid is present every single day at school, he's there 15% or she's there 15% of their life. 85% is out of the walls. So my question is always, we outside the walls, what are we up to in building support around these youth? If we know them to be the future, what are we doing? What are our conversations? How can we move our resources closer and our expertise? Blake Pollino, how many kids are out there that want to be AV technologists or do something like this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Many. A lot of high schools have pathways for it. Hudson High School, they've got a great pathway
They
for
do have
that.
a great pathway.
And many others. I just know them in particular. And so that's where the momentum is beginning. And so we're 9 months in. If I could say in 9 years, we have a robust system of partners, of business, of community, of governmental leadership, chambers, higher ed, pulling around and going, we all have stake in the game. All of this matters. It can't just be send your kids off to school and let's shake it in a bag and see what happens.
Hope for the best,
Okay,
right?
Yeah. All right, hope it works out.
Right.
Okay. It can't operate that way anymore. We're too connected, and this is too great of a country, too great of a region for all these resources not to be available to our kids. Let's enhance the road. Okay. Everybody wants to travel. Let's build a better road. That's what we're up to.
That needs to be the new slogan.
Yeah, that's a great slogan. I
Build
was like,
a
I'm
better
voting for
road.
that.
Done.
Yeah, political platform.
I
That's
love
something
that.
like a political
Let's build a better
campaign.
road.
Let's build a better road.
Okay.
I'm voting for that.
Oh, well,
that's
we appreciate
awesome.
you being on here, and we appreciate what you're doing for our kids and our community because it makes everyone better. So thank you.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to be here in space with you all and elevate good conversation around things that affect us all. I think too often it's not had enough. You know, we can have it here. I mean, my encouragement to really you all here and whoever listens to this is ask yourself, what can you do?
Yeah. How can I plug in?
Yeah. If you're listening to this, you're doing pretty good in life. What else can you do to serve others around you and to bring something to the next generation that you'll be glad that you did? You'll look yourself in the mirror and go, man, that was huge.
Yeah.
And then it spreads and multiplies.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's good.
Well, where can people find Partners for Rural Impact if they want to support, if they want to get plugged in, if they want to get involved? How do they do that?
Partnersrural.org is our main website. You can read about our mission, which is basically everything that I just said. It's what's happening on a national level. It's a very powerful movement. That website alone, there's a section on there, the East Texas Cradle to Career Partnership is on that. That's what we're up to specifically. Our framework is designed under PRI. I think it's a beautiful framework. I hate to just put it in a box like that. It's more than a framework. It's a mission. It's a vision to see young people succeed. All rural students, and all means all. Okay? We want all roads to be traveled upon, well-traveled, and to end up somewhere, a successful place.
Could have said it better. I don't think anyone could have said it better. So
Cool.
Very well done. Thank you for your time. Please go support this organization any way that you can. Appreciate you coming in and chatting with us again. We enjoy having you back, and couldn't think of a better person to do what it is that you're doing. So
Cool. It's my mission personally, so this aligns very well with the work that I get to do every day.
awesome. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening to the podcast again this week. If you'll do us a huge favor and share this podcast with someone who you think will find it interesting. We've got a growing base of listeners here in East Texas that are tuning in every week. So if you know someone who likes the kind of stories that we're telling, share it with them and kind of help grow the podcast and show more of these stories to other people in our community. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. And that's it.
Okay.
Great job, man.
Good job, dude.
Great.
Well done.